Listen to a sick and tired Mel Gibson plead with Americans to rebuke the... Howdy, y'all. I'm Brylan. Well, one of the greatest actors and directors of all time has had enough. He's sick of it. He's sick of being silent, not saying anything. And, well, he's been extremely outspoken as of late. Mel Gibson, he's thinking for himself. One of the reasons is he doesn't have anything to lose. If you remember, Mel Gibson was basically an outcast in Hollywood for many, many years, even though he went from one of the greats, making some of the best movies that have ever been made, acting and directing, to nothing. Literally nothing. I mean, we all remember why. But the point is that he doesn't have anything to lose anymore. And so, well, he's not going along to get along anymore. In fact, Mel Gibson just gave a message where he looked directly into the camera and laid his heart out on the line. But before I show you that message, I want to show you what led up to Mel Gibson saying enough is enough. Real quick, would you consider hitting that thumbs up button? You know, when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people, and it would really help spread the truth. Now, if you remember, during the presidential elections, during the campaigns, Mel Gibson was asked when he was walking through an airport by TMZ what he thought about the candidates. This is what he had to say.
I don't think it's going to surprise anyone who I vote for.
I'm going to guess Trump. Is that a bad guess?
I think it's a pretty good guess.
What do you think the world will be like in a second term with a President Trump's second term? A lot of people
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And that ain't good. Miserable track record. Appalling track record. No policies to speak of.
Yeah. And the border, right?
And she's got the IQ of a fence post.
Now, what Mel Gibson is doing here is he's actually saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying what basically no other celebrities could say and get away with. But he can get away with it. But it didn't end there. In fact, Mel Gibson went on to Joe Rogan's show, during all the wildfires in California, where Newsom and Bass and basically all the leadership in California just let the state burn, because that's what the radical left agenda does.
Yeah, we were just talking about the wildfire situation and how crazy it is that they spent $24 billion last year on the homeless.
Yeah.
And what did they spend on preventing these wildfires?
Zero.
Zip.
And in 2019, I think Newsom said, I'm going to take care of the forests and maintain the forests and do all that kind of stuff. He didn't do anything.
And then on top of that, they cut the water off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's all funny. And then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know, but
I mean, them chompers and that hair gel ain't free, okay? There's a reason they need 30% of our income.
It's sad. It's like the place is just on fire.
Well, the whole state is just so poorly managed. It's so frustrating and confusing. And then he gets on TV and pretends like everything's great. Mm-hmm. And California's the best. We have the best state. We have the most amazing economy. I'm like, you've ruined this state. Personally ruined it.
Well, it's the same team that was up in San Francisco, and then they came down to L.A. and they're doing what they did in San Francisco. And
yeah,
San Francisco's kind of like apocalyptic now,
Yeah,
I went there and it's just like people, homeless. It's a mess.
It's just unbelievable that society can crumble that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Really unbelievable.
It doesn't take long.
No.
Now, I was born and raised in California. I know exactly what they're saying here. We used to go to San Francisco all the time on vacation. Used to love it. Going on the wharf there, getting the clam chowder and the bread bowls. I mean, you couldn't beat it. Well, the last time we were there, just a few years ago, we absolutely couldn't recognize the place. Everywhere you went, it didn't matter where you went, you felt unsafe. There was homeless everywhere, feces on the street corners, on the sidewalk, the trash everywhere. It felt so miserable to be there. We swore we would never go back to San Francisco. Most places in California are like that now. That state has been completely demolished by radical left loonies, and they're pretending like it isn't. The mainstream media is telling us that Democracy is under assault because the feds had to step in and clean up Gavin Newsom's mess. Now, Ground News will help us get to the bottom of this. Now, the left is saying Newsom warns all of America. Dictator Trump is destroying democracy. And the right is telling you that Sarah Huckabee Sanders calls Gavin Newsom insane for rejecting federal assistance during Los Angeles unrest. You can also use Ground News to show you what media outlets are biased. Their blind spot feature shows you when the left or the right isn't covering the news that you should know about. You can also see who owns each news outlet. If you go to ground.news/Brylan or scan the QR code on the screen, you can get 40% off the same Vantage plan that I personally use. Thank you for supporting the sponsor of this video, Ground News. It helps me to continue to bring you daily news videos that you can trust. Not to mention the riots just destroying LA and the peaceful, burning of buildings and cars and destruction, but all being done peacefully, though. In fact, you saw Commie Harry basically say that everything was peaceful. It was overwhelmingly peaceful. And you have Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass trying to make you think that everything is peachy and peaceful. And then you saw the actual sheriff of the LAPD and other sheriffs in the state come out and say, well, no, hold on a second.
As far as people are worried about the violence that we're seeing, this violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent.
You also had another sheriff, the sheriff of Riverside, Bianco. This is what he had to say.
Makes it 100 times worse when you have politicians that are encouraging it, that are not calling it what it is, which is criminal activity. The lying to all of us, lying to the media, and purposely using the word peaceful, because I have law enforcement officers that are being shot at, that are being injured, that are being hurt, vehicles being damaged, things being burned, and they're calling it peaceful. It is a disgusting display of partisan politics.
Oh, so you're saying that the radical left political elites are saying it's one thing when it's actually another. No! No! But thankfully, there are a lot of people that are sick and tired of these radical elites in our government. And one of those people that's sick and tired of it is Mel Gibson. Listen to a sick and tired Mel Gibson plead with Americans to rebuke the radical left agenda.
Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office? How much more of their destructive decision-making masquerading as leadership are we going to tolerate? It's time to take back our community and our state and put the power and the privilege in the hands of competent leaders whose goals are to protect us and the way of life this nation was founded upon and promises to offer. That's all.
I am Mel Gibson and I endorse this message. In fact, the irony is so thick here that you had the same people, the same leadership, the Gavin Newsoms, the Karen Basses, trying to tell you that everything was peaceful, in the same breath saying this.
I wanted to let the city know that I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles to stop the vandalism, to stop the looting. Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night, there were 23 businesses that were looted. And I think that if you drive through downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere.
Wait a minute, I thought everything was peachy and peaceful. Jesus had this rebuke towards the Pharisees that I thought is actually very fitting here. Now, this is, again, Jesus is rebuking the Pharisees directly here. Look what he says in Matthew chapter 23, starting in verse 27. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead people's bones and all uncleanness. So you also outwardly appear righteous to others, but within you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. You know, this type of mindset, these types of destructive deceptiveness hasn't gone anywhere. It wasn't just the Pharisees that are guilty of this. But again, you have people in leadership in very powerful positions that on the outside try to appear like they are the ones that are filled with righteousness. They are the ones that you should be looking to for answers. But in all reality, they are hypocrites and they are filled with lawlessness. And their destructive ideologies are destroying everything around them. But thankfully, God is in complete control, and we don't rely on them on whether things are going to work out or not for the Christian. Christians have faith in Jesus Christ, knowing that Jesus defeated death on the cross in our stead so that we can have salvation and hope in Jesus and in Jesus alone. But hey, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, join this community. I would love to hear from you on a regular basis. And please hit that thumbs up button. You know, when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people and it would really help spread the truth. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.